The feather of the hidden court when the rivers ran thin and the rice bowed its head. The people of YN knelt to count omens. Lanterns guttered in the lanes. Even the market dogs moved as though afraid to wake the sky. Whispers said the world had tipped, that rulers had forgotten the balance between giving and taking. They spoke of the Fenghuang, the eastern phoenix, not a crown for kings, but a mirror for those who would rule. It came only when the land itself needed reminding. Liang, a wandering scholar with ink-stained sleeves and a hunger for truth, arrived chasing an old rumor. The Fenghuang had once nested by a willow near YN's old well. The villagers laughed at his faith, but the old woman by the water watched him with calm eyes. "We kept her here once," she said, when Liang crouched to study the willow's roots. "She returns when rulers forget." That night, under a sky the color of burned silk, Liang found a feather tucked beneath the tree, warm as a living thing. Its plume shimmered with color he had no name for, vermilion that stole moonlight and jade that held river hush. The feather hummed in his hand like something with a heartbeat. A feather, the old woman warned, binds to truths. The bearer may call for justice and be remembered, or call for vengeance and be forgotten. Before he could decide, the Fenghuang herself came down, a living poem of flame and lacquer. She did not speak. Instead, meaning settled into Liang's bones. The drought was a wound made wider by men who kept grain while children went hungry. She let the feather fall into his palm not as a gift, but as a charge. At dawn, Liang climbed the palace ridge. Courtiers chuckled at the scholar who bowed with a willow feather. On the throne, the emperor lounged like a god who had misplaced humility. Liang laid the plume on the marble and spoke plainly. "Open the granaries, check the ledgers, restore the stores to the people." Laughter turned to murmurs. Men of silk showed teeth. Yet the feather pulsed in Liang's hand, and an omen from the phoenix pressed like a weight upon the court. The emperor, fearing both revolt and omen, ordered the ledgers unsealed. Torchlight revealed sacks mislabeled, names erased, and stores hoarded under other seals. The people's hunger eased as grain moved back to the droughted fields. But the phoenix's binding was not without cost. Merchants who had profited from closed doors seethed. Men who once smiled at Liang's thin frame crossed streets to avoid him. One morning his name was gone from the village register, as though the ink itself had turned traitor. Liang had chosen the harder path, justice over comfort. The feather stayed warm in his sleeve, humming like a small sun. He taught at the schools and walked the fields, trading court favor for the quiet labor of tending balance. The Fenghuang returned sometimes, a hush in the willows, and each time its eyes seemed to say, "Well chosen." Years later, children near the well would bend to touch the willow's roots and find, half buried, a single strip of gilded down. They called it the scholar's feather and told how a thin man gave up his place in ledgers to fill mouths. The elders taught a new lesson: true power tends the many, not the few. So when the wind threads through YN's willow,